All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. We are, if I can find it now. Okay. Except that's not what I wanted. Okay, there it is. All right. So we are going to talk tonight about how to have less stress and more energy. Oftentimes, as our stress can go up throughout the day, that can actually drain our energy. And so we're going to talk about ways when we really are mindful of reducing stress, how that can also work side by side with increasing your energy too, which I don't know about you, but I'm always looking for ways to increase energy and have more energy. So just to talk a little bit briefly about some of the health consequences of stress. Stress really impacts our whole body. It can cause digestive issues. In fact, IBS is more common typically among women by a ratio of 3-to-1, and most common digestive disorders from women to seek medical care. It can also suppress or immune system too. And so oftentimes, if you've noticed before, if you've gone through a week that's been really stressful, oftentimes after that passes, you will oftentimes get sick or can get sick. And that's because stress really impacts your immune system. Stress can also play a role in our cardiovascular and nervous system. It can cause sleep deprivation. And so oftentimes when you're very stressed or you're feeling very anxious, that will actually cause you have a greater risk of developing insomnia. And sleep deprivation can often lead to weight gain. So a lot of times when we're under a lot of stress, we get less sleep, and then we're craving more of those bad foods, especially sugar. And then we also have cortisol, and cortisol will increase also your ability to have that fat around your midsection primarily comes from when we have a lot of cortisol. So what do you do about that? A lot of times, as I talked about earlier, stress and energy are related. So we don't sleep as well, we don't eat as well, and that can lead to illnesses, low energy, and weight gain. So we're going to just start a little bit by having Sarah share her story, and she's got a pretty amazing story about her journey of going off of some of her medications and what she's done along the way. I think you're on mute, Sarah.
I'm still muted. Sorry. I was like, sorry, I muted it. So I had probably about almost 3 years ago, I was just not myself anymore. And I was finding that I was extremely anxious. I was going through depression. And I knew that this wasn't what I wanted to be. And I was not myself. And my best friend and my mom were like, you need to do something about it. So I went and saw my doctor. And when I was talking to my doctor, and I was like, I can feel the moments when things would, when moments would come up, it was frequent, but it wasn't like all the time. So I tried one product that I could take just when I was feeling anxious or it was really bothering my sleep. I couldn't fall asleep. I was really upset all the time at work. So I tried one medication. I tried Xanax for me. And it wasn't for me. I didn't like it. I didn't feel right on it. I felt out of it and in the clouds. And I was like, this just wasn't for me. So they switched me over to Lexapro so I could take something every day. And that did work, but I knew that I didn't want, for me, my goal was not to be on something like that long term. I wanted to use it as long as I could. So I started doing a lot of research into nutrition and just being around supportive people and getting back into my exercise routine, because when I was going through this high anxiety time, I had kind of pushed my exercise away. And so slowly through all of that and working with my doctor, I was able to find some different new natural resources so that I could combat my energy and combat my anxiety and boost up my energy and feel better and not be so stressed. And so from that, I had learned just how my food has worked, taking multivitamin and getting all the supplementation needs. My body was just so deprived of nutrients and vitamins and minerals. And I had no idea because I thought I was healthy the whole time. I thought like, this is normal. You're supposed to feel like this. You're supposed to feel crazy and like strung out and everything. And it's just, that wasn't for me. So I had moved off of everything. And then probably like Katie, you had helped me recently because everything was starting to come up again. Like I was like stressed and I was like noticing that at work I wanted to take candy from the candy jar all the time. I was starting to try to reach for all of these things instead of finding the things that I was using before, making sure that my diet is right, making sure I have enough B complex, and stress relief is my favorite product ever. And I think sometimes because I think that I don't want to be taking something all the time, but realizing all I'm doing is filling myself with herbs and natural ingredients to help balance everything out for me, that this has just become like a staple that I've been adding. Because when I do feel that, I notice the weight gain, my cortisol levels go up, my healthy eating is off, I am not sleeping, and it's just for me that whole cycle, because you're not sleeping, so you get stressed. Your weight's going up, so you're getting stressed. And until you can combat all of that, I just constantly was like in this vicious cycle, and now I feel a lot better.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sarah, for sharing that. I think that can be really powerful, the power of nutrition and making some changes. So a little bit about no matter where we are in life, young, older, in your 30s, 40s, 50s, no matter what, for all women, it's important to really commit to taking care of yourself. And I think this is really important because a lot of times, especially as moms or people who are busy and working full time, we tend to put ourselves last. And so I think when it comes to stress, one of the things I've found that has been the most beneficial is really committing to taking care of yourself. And sometimes that can feel like, but I don't have time. I don't have time to maybe take an Epsom salt bath, or maybe I don't have time to work out in my day. But really it's about priority. And I think when it comes to your health, reducing stress is a high priority because, like I said at the beginning of our of tonight, it can impact so many areas of our life. So we're going to just talk a little bit about eating healthy, how to be active, managing stress, and then obviously supplementing wisely as well. So first, it's important to think about how to reduce stress. For many people who tend to be anxious or tend to be on the more stressed out side, caffeine can actually further cause anxiety. So I encourage you to try and avoid things like caffeine and alcohol and nicotine that can further perpetuate those cycles of feeling anxious or feeling on edge. Instead, one of the things that I really do and try to be mindful of is find things that can naturally help me relax, especially when I'm feeling frustrated or stressed and just really needing, my body just tenses up. And so one of the things is exercise. Exercise and movement is a natural way to release those endorphins in your body. And so oftentimes, after you work out, you'll actually have an increase in energy. You'll feel overall better. And so really it's just committing to whatever that could be in movement throughout the day. For a lot of people, you know, with it being the summer months, maybe it's just even committing to a couple nights a week of taking a walk or whatever that may be. Exercise can play a really big role in reducing stress. Getting more sleep. We'll talk a little bit about if you are not getting consistent 7 to 8 hours of sleep, what can you do to really help enhance your sleep so that you wake up feeling refreshed? Because I know for me, the less sleep I get, the more stress I feel.
Well, and Katie, it's also proven that if you are trying to lose weight and you're not getting your 7 to 8 hours of sleep, you're not having an effective time like losing weight. So when you are stressed about that, that's going to also affect everything as well, if that's one of your issues.
Yes, definitely. And it's something that we always try to skip out on, like, well, I'll just sacrifice sleep. And obviously there's seasons where maybe you have a newborn or different things like that. But overall, in my weight loss journey over the last year, I've really tried to prioritize sleep and to get to bed at a decent time. And I think that has really helped. I know some trainers actually who they don't even want to work with their clients, some trainers in a gym, until they can commit to getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep, because they know how critical that is. And so one thing that I do is, you'll see here on the right here, this is muscle recovery and sleep. So Epsom salt baths really help promote, it's a natural way of relaxing. And so taking a bath, I even give my kids who are younger an Epsom salt bath. It's great for detoxifying also, but it also helps with those aches and pains, and your body will feel so relaxed after taking a bath with, which will also help with sleep as well. And then I also take Recover. Recover is a Shaklee product, and it has tart cherry in it, and tart cherry has a way of helping naturally produce that melatonin in your body at night to promote that restful night's sleep. Connecting with friends is important. Making sure to breathe. Sometimes when we're really stressed, we're not even we're not mindful of just slowing down and taking those deep breaths, which can really play a big role. And then lastly, give your body the key nutrients it may be lacking. For a lot of people that we work with, they're lacking B vitamins, D vitamins, omegas, protein. All of those are the building block of your body that play a big role in your mood. So for example, vitamin D, 99% of people are deficient in vitamin D. Vitamin D affects our whole body, and it affects our mood and our energy and our immune system. And so that simple thing of just supplementing with vitamin D to get an adequate intake of vitamin D can play a big role in your mood, which will then lead to a greater ability to handle stress. Another thing I'm just going to mention very briefly, but adrenal fatigue. A lot of people suffer from adrenal fatigue and they don't know it. So I'm just going to ask, do you ever have difficulty getting up in the morning, even after a good night's sleep? Do you ever have high levels of fatigue during the day? Are you ever unable to handle stress? Do you crave salty foods? Do you have high energy levels in the evening? And do you rely on sugar or caffeine? And do you have a weakened immune system? So this is something that I've personally worked through after having my son and then not getting good sleep. And I'd be happy to talk with you more about that, but that can play a really big, landline. Who has those these days? That can play a really big role in your stress as well. So make sure if you have any questions about that, we can talk more about that at the end. So just very briefly, I'm going to talk about how vitamins and the vitamins you take can play a really big role in overall your health. And nowadays, I can't go online without seeing GNC, Target, Walmart, so many different vitamins that are out there that are not safe and that aren't proven to work, and that the FDA has no regulation whatsoever over it. So how do you know what to trust and what to use when it comes to supplementation? So one of the reasons that we partner with Shaklee is because we know that their products are always safe. They tested children and women's vitamins, 300 and, is it 50, Sarah, I think? 250? A lot of them.
Yes.
And they found that every single one of them was contaminated. And so when Shaklee products are made, you can rest assured knowing that they have been proven to be safe. In fact, they go beyond organic. So what that means is they test before, during, and after a product is made to ensure that they're safe. But that a farm can be organic, but that doesn't necessarily mean the boundaries within that farm are pure. But when we go beyond organic, that means that we take organic a step further to ensure that they're safe. So Shaklee's been around for over 100 years, and Dr. Shaklee really pioneered the nutrition industry by creating the very first multivitamin. We were the very first company to be climate neutral, the first company to have a biodegradable cleaner, first company to have an instant protein, just so many different things that we pioneered. So really when it comes to this whole idea of prevention and wellness and building health, it all started with Shaklee. So over 100 years ago, as I said, Dr. Shaklee created the very first multivitamin. So I love that we have such a rich history of improving people's health every single day. A little bit about the Shaklee difference. So they always test to make sure their products are pure, potent, and they perform. So just a couple things right here is we have invested $300 million in research and development. 300 million, that's crazy high. No other company invests as much in research and development as we do. We do 100,000 quality tests a year to ensure the products are pure and safe. Why does this matter? I mean, why does any of this matter, especially when it comes to stress? Well, it matters a lot because what we put in our bodies can either fuel us and help us feel good and give us energy and make us feel better throughout the day, or they can cause more harm. And so for some people, when they're lacking those key nutrients, then it is affecting their bodies. It's affecting their mood. They're feeling moody, or they're having low energy, or they're struggling with their weight. And so this is just a peace of mind, knowing that everything I'm going to use will help me, and that we're going to use the best of science, and we're going to pair that with nature. So, Sarah, if you want to kind of talk a little bit, we're going to just talk very briefly about some of the products that can play a role in reducing stress and helping you to feel better.
Yeah, so the Vitalizer is a great combination of your multivitamin, you have a BC complex, you have your omegas, and you have your probiotics. So the combination of all of these together really help fill in the gaps wherever you're missing some of your vitamins and your nutrients and your minerals. And then the BC complex, as Katie had mentioned about how energy is really important, and when we are stressed, our energy levels are down. And the B and C is really going to help boost your energy and help you. It's a slow release. You see the patented smart delivery system. It has a slow release to make sure that your body is getting all of the different nutrients when they need them and throughout the course of the day. And as we talked about omegas are great for your brain health and cardiovascular health. And that is going to be another thing that's going to help reduce your stress. And the probiotic is probably one of my favorites because Katie, was it 10 years that Shaklee took to create it? And your gut?
10 years.
I lose track of how many years sometimes with that and the skincare. So your brain and your gut, there's such a connection between your brain and your gut, and making sure that your gut is healthy can help your brain, which is going to all affect your stress, your immune system, and everything else. So this Vitalizer is really great for everyone.
Oh, sorry. Delay. There we go.
And then here's just a quick snapshot of what is included in your Vitalizer. So you can see that you're getting as much vitamin C as in 7 oranges, and vitamin D is in 8 cups of milk. So you can see that in this one little strip of just these pills here, you're getting all of these vitamins and nutrients as if you were eating all of these different foods.
Yeah, and it's really important to know here that our food is not the same today as it was 50, 60, 70, 80 years ago. And so back then when we farmed our food, we weren't using as much chemicals and pesticides. And so now when they compare a carrot or a broccoli or asparagus, and they look at the nutrients in each of those, they find that the amount of nutrients you're getting is a lot less and a lot lower than what it was back in the day. So that is why if you look around, people are often getting sicker and sicker, have a higher chance of autoimmune, diabetes, overweight. All of these health concerns are all around us, and it's because of how our food is made. And so there are ways that we can help fill in those gaps, like Sarah said, that can play a really big role. And honestly, I love this Vitalizer because it's super easy and convenient, and it's a nice, easy strip to take, especially when you're on the go. And this is what Sarah talked about too, about our second brain, that our gut is our second brain. And so a lot of times when we have depression, anxiety, mood swings, we need to look at the gut. That's really important. Not just supplementing, but looking at our diet, trying to strive for eating a diet that's heavy in a lot of those vegetables and fruit, and trying to even be mindful of if you do meat, making sure it's lean protein, or also grass-fed, we always want to try and get grass-fed to get those essential fatty acids because our brain is made of a lot of fats, and that plays a really big role in our mood as well.
And going back to the Vitalizer, Mary just added something to that. We also have a chat going too. So if anyone has any questions throughout the thing, you can put in a question or a comment or anything, and we can go in the chat. And Mary commented how Vitalizer is also just so convenient for people who travel, because then you don't have to worry about packing like a bunch of bottles or just throwing your vitamins like in a bag, which I also thought was really interesting is how Shaklee, the way they created the Vitalizer like that was because if you have all the vitamins next to each other, they lose their potency when they like are rubbing up against each other. So it's patented to be packaged like that for a reason.
Yeah, it's really neat. Thanks for sharing that, Mary. So omegas are in that Vitalizer strip. And as I talked about before, a lot of our brain are made of those essential fatty acids. So you hear often how important it is to have those omegas for eye health, heart health, brain health. It actually benefits. There's lots of studies that show that ADD and ADHD can sometimes be linked to a deficiency in omegas. So my kids have been taking omegas since they were very little. It helps to keep your red blood cells slippery, and we want to keep them slippery to prevent any blood clots or heart disease and things like that. But there's also been studies about depression and anxiety and how those can play a big role in omegas. And this is what's really important is that not all omegas are created the same. And so our fish can be very contaminated from our water, from PCBs, dioxins, mercury, arsenic, lead. I could go on and on. So Shaklee runs a very, very expensive test that is a triple distilled, molecular distilled to make sure that it removes, there is not any trace of any harmful chemical that can be found in the fish. The other nice benefit is before I took Shaklee, I took other fish oil, and I would always get those fish burps. But with these Omega Guard, you will not have those those fish burps that you can sometimes get from taking fish oil. And the next thing, Sarah, if you want to talk a little bit about the shakes.
Sure, yeah. So the protein shakes. So, I mean, most people are probably familiar with, there's so many different types of shakes on the market. And what I have learned from using this Life Shake is it's a plant-based protein with 16 grams of plant-based, pure, non-GMO protein, which the protein is so important to have in breakfast. And we learn that breakfast, we've all been told for how long that breakfast is the most important meal of the day, but it's easy to skip it. And this is just something that is so convenient. You can make them ahead of time. You can kind of prepare things. You can just shake them up in a water bottle, shake them up one of those blender bottles with water or your milk of choice, and you're going to be it's going to help sustain your energy. It's going to keep you satisfied through lunch. I notice that I take this every day, and if something happens and I miss it, I feel like I am starving by like 9 a.m. You're also going to have all of the 9 amino acids. You're going to help prevent lean muscle, preserve your lean muscle because of the leucine, which is one of my favorite things about this. Because when most people are trying to lose weight, your body is going to be losing weight or fat and your muscle. But here, the leucine is going to help protect your lean muscle, which is going to increase your metabolism, also help different things with your stress, and while you're losing the fat. So it's just going to help you with like less sugar cravings. I find, Katie, for me, that it does have like just that perfect amount of sweetness that it's like a treat. When I have mine every day, like I legit think it tastes like a milkshake for me. So you're going to be having less sugar cravings. You're going to be having some weight loss with this and building your muscles. It's also loaded with omega-3. So you're going to be getting your more omegas and your pre and probiotics. It's really just a great product that you can have. Katie shares it with her children every day. You can add it, like load it up with like veggies and fruits when you're blending it up. There's so much versatility with these shakes.
Yeah, and I think what's important too is you always want to maintain a healthy, your blood sugar to be stable. And so it's low glycemic, because when we have those highs and lows in our blood sugar, that again affects our mood, which then can sometimes cause us be more stressed or to overeat or those kinds of things. Sarah had mentioned earlier about stress relief being one of her favorite products, and I'd have to agree with her. If you look here on the screen, you will actually see there are so many clinical studies that Shaklee does, and this is one of them. So in this study, they found that people who took stress relief were more relaxed, more alert, less tense, and better concentrated. I don't know about you, but I love, those are 4 things I need throughout my day. And so, previously when I took an antidepressant when I was struggling with anxiety in college, it made me very tired. And so what I love about stress relief is it relaxes you, but it also helps with alertness. So you're not going to feel drowsy. You're not going to feel tired after taking it. And so this is as needed. People take as needed. If you're having, just a hard, for me, I sometimes take one between 3 and 5, that like late afternoon pre-dinner time that everybody's just kind of getting cranky. But you will feel a difference when you take this, and it really helps to blunt your cortisol production. And remember, when we have a spike of that cortisol, that signals to your body to hold on to fat. And if you're, again, trying to reach for that healthy weight, stress relief, believe it or not, can actually play a big role in reaching a healthy weight. And then, Sarah, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about, these are some additional little helpers that you can take as well, B complex and the T.
Yeah, so you clearly can see the stress relief, but the B complex is great because this is going to help you when you're experiencing like food cravings, or also when you're having that 3 to 5 p.m. window. I think is a hard window for like everyone, whether it's dealing with kids or at the end of the day of the work. And I sometimes, with the stress relief, I'll take an extra B complex because I'm going to help to preserve or create some more energy for my health, alleviates that sugar cravings, and I'm going to want to go attack there's a candy bowl in my pod at work that you walk past 100 times a day. It's also great. I guess it's like it says here, it's nicknamed the happy vitamin. It just helps like boost you when you need it. And it's with there's multiple B vitamins that are included, which is why it's B complex. And you need all of these together in order to get the benefits from them. We also have the energizing tea, which is great. There's the green matcha tea, which we know some benefits of the green matcha tea, but this is going to help boost your energy, again, increase your alertness. You've got the different red, white, and green teas. It's only 5 calories per serving. So it's really great that you're not having like a high sugar drink when you feel like you need that boost. So just mixing I prefer my green tea hot. That is like how I like it. And I like this pomegranate. It's so just the perfect amount of flavor. But when you're struggling at the end of the day or at any time, maybe your hard time is at like 9, 10 in the morning, but these are just some different options that can help boost your energy to help make sure that you're on the right track of relieving your stress, because we all know that when we're getting tired and we're getting cranky, our stress levels are going to go up.
Definitely. I take those every day. And then I just want to briefly mention that if for people who are feeling depressed, that Mood Lift has St. John's wort, which if you're in other countries, especially in Germany, they don't typically prescribe antidepressants. What they do typically for people is they will have them go on St. John's wort, because it's used to improve depression, irritability, insomnia, mild anxiety, poor concentration, fatigue. But I will note that it takes 4 to 6 weeks to feel the effect, and that you do not want to take this while you're on a prescription medication for depression, and it's not advised to use during pregnancy as well. But I just wanted to mention that because a lot of people have used that to help them in various ways. So I just wanted to close and see if anybody had any questions. But I did want to share that if you have not yet ever tried a Shaklee product before, they have a 100% satisfaction guarantee. And so I encourage you, try it and see how you feel. And if you don't notice a difference, you can get your money back. And this month, what's so great is this is a really, really good promotion. So right now, there's an opportunity to get a discount for life when you get started on any Shaklee product. So it's a really great promotion that's going on this month. So I encourage you to reach out to the person that invited you on this webinar to learn more. But I would love to open it up. If anybody has any questions right now, please feel free to unmute yourself or feel free to use the chat box. Sarah, is there anything while people are maybe typing in, if anybody has anything?
No, I think you, sorry, I think you covered everything. I think we got it.
I have a question.
Yes.
You were talking about something at the beginning, but I couldn't really hear what it was all about. But you said that there was something that you had discovered about yourself where you were feeling like you were staying up really late. And you said you were going to talk about it at the end.
Yes. Yeah, adrenal fatigue.
Adrenal fatigue. Okay.
Yeah. So adrenal fatigue, if you've been through a period of stress or if your sleep cycle has been affected, what can happen is your cortisol that goes on throughout the day should be at certain levels. And what happens is those cortisol levels get all out of whack. And so for me, what I was noticing is it was time to go to bed, around that 10-ish, 11-ish hour. And I was getting a second wind. I was like, why am I not tired? I should be tired right now. But then I was tired during the day. And I felt really fatigued, especially in the afternoon, even after getting a good night's sleep. So adrenal fatigue. And so what I did to help that is sleep is best for that. And then something called Core Energy that actually helps heal your adrenals. And then lots of that B complex, because B complex really helps with energy. So that was something that actually a lot of people can have adrenal fatigue and they don't know that they do.
So you would take Core Energy during the day?
Yes. Core Energy.
When you wake up in the morning, you take that?
Yep. Okay. You take 3, I think, but I would take 1 morning, afternoon, and night.
Cool. Thank you.
Yes. That's a great question. Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us tonight, and I hope this was helpful in reducing stress and feeling better and improving your mood. Oh, you know what? I'm just going to very briefly mention sleep. There are products that can help enhance your sleep because sometimes when you have high stress, you have trouble settling down at the end of the day. And so there are different things based on maybe your mind's racing or maybe your body has trouble resting. So depending on your needs, the person that invited you can share more with you about that. But one of the things I always recommend is calcium and magnesium. That's known as nature's tranquilizer, and that really helps calm and relax you. In a magnesium deficiency, you could have leg cramps, night terrors, you can have trouble where, I used to get restless leg. And now I don't because I take my calcium and magnesium. So that's another thing that can really help you relax at the end of the day and help you sleep well. I think that's it, though. All right. Thank you guys for joining us, and hope you guys have a good... Oh, wait, chat. Oh, thank you. Okay. Awesome. Thanks, Mary. Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks, Kate.